I crashed. Day 2 of the 4-day cycling challenge, 500 kilometers. I'm going down fast. I round a curve, and my front wheel misses a pothole. My rear wheel smashes into it. I lose control, and I go straight into the bushes. In fact, so deep, I have to be pulled out by my fellow cyclist. I can't even stand up. I look at my right side. The entire side from my shoulder to my toe is full of bruises and bleeding. I can't even move my right shoulder. My first reaction is anger. I'm so angry at myself. How could I be so careless, so stupid, endanger my whole ride and also the safety of fellow cyclists? Crashes. How many of you have crashed in your lives, metaphorically speaking? Remember the time when you hoped to get 98% in your exam and you got 60% because you didn't prepare for it? Worse if you actually prepared for it. Or the time you joined a firm and you ended up serving coffee, not your cup of tea. Or when your partner dumped you and started dating your best friend. Today, if I can show you how to channelize anger to achieve your goals, would it be of value to you? If I can show you how anger can help you blast through obstacles and help you achieve your potential and goals, would that be of use to you? You see, all emotions can be labeled good or bad, right or wrong. Anger especially has a bad reputation, as we all know. Right? So today I'm going to talk about 4 powerful techniques that will help you harness the power of anger that it did for me, that I call LIVE, L-I-V-E, acronym. So let's begin the journey. But first, flashback to July 1985. You see, my strongest memory of anger is forever associated with a red bus. Why a red bus, you would think, right? So I had scored spectacularly badly in my plus 2 exams. And while everybody else in my science batch went for engineering, IITs and RECs and medicine, I had to contend with a mediocre commerce degree from an average college in my hometown. Crash. So I took this red KSRTC bus from the main bus stand, packed standing room only, right? Got to the college, got down. It was raining. And of course, I had no umbrella. So I walked up the hill all the way to this college, alone, lonely, up the stairs to this, cold, desolate, windy corridors where the enrollment offices were. I felt exactly the same way inside. Lonely, cold, humiliated, and angry at myself. So angry, right? But nothing changed for the next 3 years. I continued to be the same mediocre, indifferent student, watching cricket and football on TV, wasting my time. And predictably, the results were mediocre, right? After 3 years, I came out with a second-class degree, while every one of my friends got a first class. Another crash. In my, desperation, I started writing entrance exams. So I wrote MBA entrance exam. Twice. Crashed. Twice. Again. By this time, I turned 19 and I was desperate, right? I was acceptable for any job. I would do anything. So I still remember walking up the rickety wooden stairs to this attic where in those days they used to type out resumes, you see. And my grand plan was to be a junior accountant in some random lumber factory in central Kerala. That was my ambition, right? I remember coming down the stairs and walking out and going back home and thinking, this is not the way I imagined life to be, right? I had really hit rock bottom. And then something shifted in me, something changed, I decided enough was enough of this mediocrity and stagnation. So for the next 3 years, I studied like my life and dignity depended on it for Chartered Accountancy course. I cleared that in first attempts. And that gave me an unassailable confidence that I carry with me even today. So that's the first key, you see. The first key is that anger can be a brilliant initiator. Fast forward to corporate life, you climb the ladder, as you do, and I'm stuck now. I'm Executive Director of Finance, fancy title, good salary, but lots of politics, extremely stressful, and very corrupt workplace. right? My stomach churns whenever I think of talking to my boss. I dread going to the office in the morning. I have a stomach ulcer. There are certain moments in your life when you realize that what makes you tick, what really makes you tick, what makes you come alive. This was one of those moments. And I realized that my core values of authenticity, freedom, respect, meaningful work, were completely out of whack with the workplace. There was no connection whatsoever. So my next decision was so easy. I quit corporate life forever, right? I started my own training company because I loved teaching. I was good at it as well. And we quickly became market leaders. And a few years later, we were acquired by Kaplan, the US-based training and publishing giant. That's the second key to success, which is that anchor, I found, can help you discover your values and live your values as well. Now, while I was the CEO of my company, I remember this meeting. It happened one late evening in one December, 8 years ago to be precise. And 3 leaders in the company, we were sitting on the 24th floor, skyscraper, looking down on the traffic below. Argument got heated, very heated, as they do sometimes in corporate. And then one of my juniors, mind you, looked at me and said, "Binod, you are not a leader." Can you imagine how that felt to me? It was like a slap in the face, right? It was shocking, it was humiliating, and my first thought was, how dare he, right? My junior with so much less experience and success compared to me, how dare he tell me I'm not a leader? I'm the CEO. So I fired him immediately, right? On the spot. No, I'm kidding. It didn't happen. Just made that up. Okay? I wanted to probably, but I didn't. But then I calmed down and I realized that he was right, you see. I was hypercritical, I was judgmental, I was arrogant at times, and I was impatient. And now I had a different kind of anger, different kind of fury, which was, you know what? I had let my company down. I was not the leader the company wanted at that time. And that anger drove me into this personal transformation journey over the next 2 years. A lot of introspection, a lot of humility, a lot of feedback from everywhere, a lot of coaching, informal coaching. And the result of that was staggering. After 2 years, employee engagement soared, attrition plummeted, the revenues and profits went up. In fact, that was the main reason why Kaplan acquired the company, because they saw this fantastic, small but fast-growing company, well-managed company, right? Which brings me, of course, to the next key to success. And we were talking about that earlier as well, right? Which is that anger, I found out, can be a fantastic trigger for massive personal transformation. It can actually help you become a leader and even help you achieve financial freedom, as it did for me. Right? Now, of course, I have been teaching and mentoring and coaching for the past many years. And one thing I've noticed among youngsters, and not so youngsters, right, is that they all follow the tribe. They all follow the herd. So someone says, for example, MBA, what I call Master of Business Ambiguity. Everyone does MBA. Someone says, let's do IAS, I am sorry. Everyone does IAS. And so on and so forth. There was blind chasing after education and qualification that really made no sense if you think about your values, traits, and goals. But just because somebody else is doing it, you're doing it. And then you have institutions and governing bodies peddling this very misleading, superficial, one-sided narrative that you have to tick those boxes to be successful in life or career. You have to do this qualification to get into this big brand. You have to become an entrepreneur, etc., etc., etc. So I got incensed, as I do, because I thought this was not only unethical, but downright immoral, misleading youngsters into spending thousands of hours of their precious life following some career qualification that is not meant for them. So I took on to LinkedIn, started blogging, right? And before I knew it, those blogs got traction. People started writing to me and saying, you know what, your blogs are brutally honest, but they hit right at the point, and they're very practical as well, and no one else is saying what you do. So I gained tens of thousands of followers. And along with that, those interactions came this regular message that, why don't you write a book? There is no book out there that captures the essence of what you're trying to drive home. So I said, why not? And so within a short 4-month period, I wrote this book and published it early this year in May. And it's a career guide, is a philosophy for life, whatever people call it. But for me, it's a compendium of all my failures, my flaws, my successes, my fears, my fury. That's also very important, right? My fury at those who let me down along the way. And my fury, but most importantly, my fury at myself for letting myself down, right? And of course, lots of actionable coaching tips, right? So here's the tip for you, right? If you want to get famous and get some opportunities, document all your flaws, write a book, and hey, you never know where that goes, right? But jokes apart, that brings me to my next key to success, which is that anger can transform you into an inspiration for countless others, more than you can imagine. Now, you might be thinking in the middle of all this, Binod, it's all fine, but you're talking on a personal level, right? Very individual level. But there's more than individual, you see. If you think about it, if you look at history, a lot of the changes we have seen in society, one of the main catalysts has been anger, right? You look at land reforms or women's suffrage or the civil rights movement, Martin Luther King. One of the catalysts was the sheer anger at the blatant injustice and unfairness of the system. And not just there. If you think about, for example, all the scientific and technological advances, right, over the last many decades, just think about them, right? Many of them actually happened during the world wars and during the Cold War. And as you know, wars are triggered often by anger. I'll give you an example if you don't believe me, right? Radar, sonar, rocketry, satellites, the flu vaccine, penicillin, the ballpoint pen, duct tape, and very importantly, the internet, right? I could go on and on, right? Now just imagine if anger can unleash so much collaboration and creativity, what it can do for you. Earlier in the talk, I talked about the acronym, right? LIVE, L-I-V-E, which pretty much captures the essence of how you can channelize anger to achieve success. L is for leadership. Anger transformed me from a mediocre manager into a leader. Think about how it can make you into a better leader. I is for initiative. Anger made me take the initiative to do my chartered accountancy course 31 years ago. And that completely changed my career and my life. What initiatives can you take today to change your life? Think about that. V stands for values, something very dear to me, something that I strongly believe in. And in corporate life, anger helped me discover my values, quit corporate life and start my company. You don't have to become an entrepreneur to discover your values. But my question is, A, do you know your values? And B, are you living those values? And C, to what extent are you living those values? And E, of course, is about enthusiasm and excitement, right? Anger has transformed me so totally that I've become an inspiration to many others. So the question for you would be, who are you inspiring to achieve their destinies? Starting today, right? Now, at the beginning, I talked about the cycling challenge and my epic crash on day 2. So everyone on the spot, support crew, photographers, fellow cyclists said, Binod, cycling challenge is over for you. Okay? Get a support car, don't be a hero, and just ride the rest of the 2 days. Yeah? I said, you know what, I'm going to cycle. And I cycled the entire rest of the challenge, 350 kilometers, entire 3 days. It was not a pleasant experience because with every bump, I was wincing with pain because my entire right side was bruised and bleeding. But the icing on the cake was on the last day at the gala event, the closing ceremony, I was voted Spirit of TOK standing for Tour of Karnataka, which I least expected based on a poll of my fellow cyclists. I was called on stage, etc., right? And the icing on the icing was that quite a few riders came after the event and said, You know what? We had our tough times during the cycling challenge, going up hills, and we did think about you, and that if you can do it with your bruised and battered limbs, we can do it too. So thank you for the inspiration. Yeah. So the point is that anger can be a powerful force for the good. Anger is real, anger is right, anger is good. Anger clarifies, anger pushes through, right? Anger has captured the essence of the evolutionary spirit since the dawn of time. Anger has actually triggered and marked the upward ascent of mankind through the ages. And anger, you mark my words, will save you. Now they say that a great future does not require a great past. Yeah? And my contention is anger can make the great future happen. And maybe, just maybe, I should be angry about the fact that I'm still single. My name is Binod Shankar. Thank you very much.